Get on the ground now! You're under arrest!
Funny, I'm the sheriff.
Two fake HOA cops pointed their guns at a black woman in her own doorway simply because she refused to bow to their fake authority. But what they didn't know was who she really was, and they were about to find out the hard way. The first knock came 1 month after Caleb Holloway and Renee Holloway, a black couple, moved in. Not loud, not aggressive, just polite enough to feel rehearsed. Caleb was on the porch tightening a loose railing screw when a woman in a crisp blazer stopped at the edge of the driveway, clipboard tucked under her arm, smile stretched thin. She introduced herself as Brenda Whitlock, president of the Homeowners Association, and welcomed them to the neighborhood like she was granting permission to exist. Then Brenda asked to inspect the house. Caleb didn't laugh, but he almost did. Caleb told Brenda calmly that the bylaws didn't allow HOA presidents to inspect private homes without cause. He had read them front to back the first week they moved in. Brenda blinked once, her smile stiffening, then said she would circle back. A week later, she did. This time she brought printed papers, highlighted sections, and a louder voice. She claimed there were concerns about exterior compliance, lighting angles, porch fixtures, things no one else on Willowcrest Drive had ever been cited for. Caleb listened, nodded, then pointed out again that inspections weren't permitted without a violation on record. Brenda's smile disappeared. By the third encounter, she didn't bother pretending. She marched up the walkway one afternoon while Renee was inside and demanded access. She said refusal would look suspicious. She said cooperation would make things easier. Caleb told her the same thing he had twice before. There was nowhere in the bylaws that gave her that authority. Brenda stared at him like he had broken an unspoken rule. Neighbors started watching from their windows. Phones came out. Brenda lowered her voice and said something about people like them, thinking rules didn't apply. Caleb told her she was done there and stepped back inside. That night, the Holloways' names showed up on the Maple Ridge Community Association message board. Non-compliant, uncooperative, potential risk to community harmony. Brenda had decided they weren't just residents anymore. They were a problem. What no one on that street knew, what Brenda especially didn't know, was that Renee had been listening to every interaction from the beginning, quietly, carefully. She never stepped in, never corrected Brenda, never wore her uniform outside. Renee was the sheriff of Redwood County. To the neighborhood, she was just another black woman who kept to herself. To Brenda, she was invisible. Brenda stopped asking after that third refusal. She didn't knock again. Instead, she made a call, and the next time authority showed up at the Holloway home, it wouldn't come with a clipboard or a smile. The pounding came just after sunset. Not a knock, not a doorbell, a full-fisted udar that rattled the frame like someone was trying to break their way inside. Caleb opened the door and immediately felt it, that wrongness in the air when something is pretending to be official. Two men stood on the porch, dark uniforms, tactical vests, belts loaded with gear meant to look intimidating if you didn't know better. One of them rested his hand near his holster like it belonged there. The taller one spoke first. HOA enforcement, he said. You're under investigation for multiple violations. Step outside. Across the street, Brenda stood on her lawn, arms folded, chin lifted, watching like this was a show she had paid for. Caleb didn't move. Under what authority? He asked. The shorter man smirked. Community authority. You've refused inspection multiple times. That's escalation. Caleb told them calmly they had no right to be on the property, that inspections weren't permitted, that he wasn't stepping anywhere. The tall one's jaw tightened. He glanced back at Brenda, who gave a small nod. That's when the tone changed. If you don't comply, the tall one said, this becomes an arrest. Caleb's heart rate stayed steady, but his mind was already moving. Their hands hovered too close to their weapons. They wanted him scared, wanted him outside, wanted witnesses. Inside the house, Renee heard everything, every word. She didn't come out. She didn't announce herself. She picked up her phone and started recording. Clear audio, faces visible through the doorway. Then she made one quiet call. Outside, the fake HOA cops grew bolder. You're being non-cooperative, the shorter one said. That's a safety risk. A risk to who? Caleb asked. To the community, the man replied. That was a lie, and everyone knew it. The tall man took a step closer. Last warning, step off the property. Neighbors began gathering, doors cracked open, phones lifted. Brenda's smile widened. This was the moment she wanted. Inside, Renee finished the call. Sirens were already moving. Caleb didn't know that yet. The tall man's hand settled firmly on his gun. Not drawn, but close enough to send the message. You think HOA rules don't apply to you, he said. You're about to learn different. Caleb looked past him at Brenda. She met his eyes and mouthed one word. Finally. Inside the house, a door opened softly behind him. Footsteps approached, and the people on that porch had no idea the real authority was about to step into the light. The front door opened behind Caleb. Calm. Unrushed. Renee stepped onto the porch like it was any other evening. No uniform, no badge visible, just her phone in her hand, screen dark, posture relaxed. She took in the scene in one quiet sweep, the guns, the fake confidence, Brenda across the street practically buzzing with excitement. Is there a problem? Renee asked. The taller fake cop glanced at her, then dismissed her immediately. Ma'am, this doesn't concern you. Go back inside. She didn't move. It concerns me, she said evenly, because you're on our property. Brenda scoffed loudly. He's been aggressive all month. He refuses inspections. He's dangerous. That word again. The shorter fake cop shifted his stance and pointed at Caleb. Sir, you're now being detained for obstruction. Renee tilted her head slightly. Under what statute? The taller one laughed. HOA authority. Same as before. That's not a statute, she replied. His smile faded. Ma'am, the shorter one snapped, you're interfering. She raised her phone just enough for them to notice. I'm recording. That's when the air changed. The tall fake cop stepped forward sharply. Turn that off. No, she said. He reached for his weapon. Not fast, not clean, but deliberate enough to make the threat unmistakable. The gun cleared the holster halfway and stopped, aimed low, but present. You think this is a joke? He said. You're under arrest too. Have you ever seen someone abuse power so badly they forget who they're threatening? What would you do if fake authority showed up at your front door with guns, believing they owned your home and your freedom? Before we go further, what city or country are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. We love seeing where you're tuning in from. If you believe no one has the right to intimidate families in their own homes and that real authority should protect, not terrorize, make sure you like, share, and subscribe for more true-to-life HOA stories right here. Brenda sucked in a breath like she had been waiting for that moment. Neighbors gasped. Someone whispered. Phones shook. Renee didn't raise her voice. She didn't step back. She looked directly at the man holding the gun and said, You need to put that down. He laughed, short, sharp. Or what? Before she could answer, a sound rolled through the street, distant at first, then unmistakable. Sirens. Brenda's head snapped around. The fake cop stiffened. The shorter one muttered, What is that? Renee finally took a step forward, slow, controlled. She slipped her phone into her pocket and said the words that collapsed everything they thought they were. My name is Sheriff Renee Holloway, she said clearly. I am the elected sheriff of Redwood County, and you just threatened me and my husband with a firearm. Silence slammed down on the street. The tall fake cop's hand trembled. The gun dipped. Color drained from his face. Brenda's mouth opened. No sound came out. The sirens grew louder. And in that moment, every ounce of fake power standing on that porch vanished completely. No one moved. The sirens were close now, too close to ignore. Red and blue light flickered against car windows at the far end of Willowcrest Drive. The two fake HOA cops stood frozen, hands half raised, suddenly unsure what to do with the weapons they never should have brought. Brenda found her voice first. She's lying, Brenda shouted. Sheriff Renee didn't look at her. She addressed the men on the porch. Step away from your firearms. Slowly. The tall one obeyed immediately. The shorter hesitated, eyes darting to Brenda like she might save him. She didn't. He swallowed hard and stepped back. Squad cars rolled in fast. Doors opened. Real deputies from Redwood County moved with practiced control, weapons ready but restrained. They didn't shout. They didn't rush. They recognized authority when they saw it. One deputy disarmed the fake officers. Another placed them in cuffs. Brenda backed toward her porch railing. I was just enforcing HOA rules, she said weakly. I didn't mean for this to happen. A neighbor spoke up from the sidewalk. We recorded everything. Another held up a phone. She told them to arrest him. More voices joined in. Brenda giving orders. Brenda calling Caleb dangerous. Brenda promising eviction. Sheriff Renee finally turned to her. "You coordinated armed impersonation on private property," she said calmly. "That's a felony." Brenda shook her head, panic flooding in. "I was protecting the neighborhood." "No," Sheriff Renee said. "You were abusing power you didn't have." A deputy stepped forward and placed cuffs on Brenda's wrists. The click echoed louder than the sirens ever had. Brenda tried to speak again, but nothing came out. She was guided toward the patrol car as neighbors stepped aside, no one helping, no one defending her. The fake HOA cops were led away next, heads down, confidence gone. When the cars pulled off, the street went quiet. Sheriff Renee turned to Caleb then. The tension finally left her shoulders. She brushed his arm gently, checking that he was okay. He nodded, still letting the adrenaline drain. "This house," she said, "is safe." Neighbors began to disperse. Some waved, some apologized. No one questioned them again. As the last patrol car disappeared, calm settled over the block. Brenda was gone. The fake authority was gone. And everyone learned the same lesson that night. Real power doesn't shout, doesn't threaten, and doesn't need permission. It simply shows up. And when it does, lies collapse fast. The street was theirs again. If you believe no one should be threatened in their own home and fake authority deserves real consequences, smash that like button and subscribe to Story Arc for more powerful HOA stories like this one.